Hey y'all, welcome back to Homesteadin in the City. I'm Zach, and today we're going on a special Christmas Day garden tour. Okay, so before we even go outside, I'm gonna come back here in the sunroom. I've got my pineapple and avocados and a few peppers overwintering in here. I do have one heat mat down and a crock pot that's making some black garlic, and then as well we have rerouted the vent from the dryer in our laundry room to vent out into here to just try to warm up this room as much as possible and shelter those warmer weather plants. All right, so on the patio we've still got our mushroom logs here. They haven't started sprouting any of the mushrooms that I'm trying to grow on them yet, but we have seen a couple of different mushrooms pop out. I think, from what I've been reading, I think that this is a split gill mushroom right here. And then I'm hoping that this right in here is some turkey tail. But we're gonna let those keep going, and then might have to get an expert in here to help us figure that out. Okay, so back here at the top corner of our yard, this is where we're eventually going to have that chicken run. We want to have all of the fertility that we can build up at the uphill side so that it can just flow downhill throughout our food forest and garden areas. And then as we go along through here, something I've been doing in this chicken run is just trying to make some arches out of the trees to create a little bit more protection from predators. And so what I've done with a lot of these cherry laurels is just bent them over under some other branches or under the clothesline over there, a couple different things, and we're just tying them down to make a bit of a tunnel throughout here. Alright, and so if you go all the way to the end of the chicken run to the back corner of our yard, of course, we come out here at the frog fountain that some of y'all are familiar with. We have had some freezing temperatures the past couple nights, which is fairly unusual for us. So we've got a lot of ice built up in the fountain. Everything seems to still be doing okay, so there wasn't much going on in here right now anyways. We'd already taken out most of the plants and everything to get ready for the winter, so and of course through the middle of the yard here we have our food forest rows, which they're in a transition state right now, and if I go over here you can kind of see a little bit better. We have just kind of swept out or raked out all of the broken down wood chips and everything that were in the walking paths here in between the rows, and we've just raked them onto the rows here, so that we've got a lot of mulch and leaves that are going to be breaking down in all of these rows. And then what we will do later in the winter before spring hits is just refill this whole area with fresh wood chips and kind of the walking path areas. Here's one of my little loquats in a food row already. It's about 6 or 7 inches tall. I think we planted him last year from some seeds, so we'll see how this guy does. Alright, and in the back corner we've got our frog fountain, which right now is just a bunch of icicles from the last couple nights' freezes, so not much happening here right now, but come spring that will be full of life. And then back here in the back corner, very back corner, we've got our 2-year-old loquat in the ground now, and then I've put some comfrey that is mostly dyed back on either side of this loquat, and so I'll let that grow up and use that to mulch and fertilize the loquat. And then of course back in here we've also got some of our elderberries, and we'll keep propagating those out. We've got some there. We've got a few elderberries down in here, and of course the big guys. And so kind of all along here we're going to be doing a lot of elderberry, maybe some fig, and then hopefully some muscadine stuff growing along the fence. Percy, you like playing with the ice? Alright, and then of course in our greenhouse area right now we just have the green stalk. I think it's mostly the mustard greens that have taken off well right now. They're a little bit wilted in this cold weather, but we are mostly in this freeze, just seeing what survives and trying to get some good cold hardy seeds out of that. And then as well as some of the stuff we planted from seeds, also got some of our blueberries in here, just seeing if they will take root there, because the green stalk worked okay for elderberry cuttings earlier on. Don't know if they'll do okay for blueberries, but we'll see. Alright, and then back here we've got that tiny little frog pond that I built. Somebody decided to chew on the wire that connected the pump to the solar panels, so this water was still throughout the freeze, and it got so cold. You can see I threw that brick in there and it just kind of froze in place. And so we'll have some more stuff going on here in the spring. I'm thinking about expanding the frog pond kind of into this area too. Might be a little hard to see, but Percy has dug down a few feet into this sand. And so might just make use of that, since it's at the kind of bottom area of the yard anyways, to just expand that frog pond area. Percy, you working on the pond some more? I don't know. We might leave it for Percy digging area. We'll see. So that's about it here in the backyard. And from here we can move on downhill through the rain garden area. So this little side path rain garden area, this year really all we did was make sure we got some vegetation growing up to help with the runoff and erosion. Haven't done too much in here. In the future though, we'll probably put a few more fig trees and mulberry trees, maybe espalier them. And then right here I've got this is actually a muscadine vine that grew up this summer, and it's died back, so we'll probably try to grow that along this wall, make a little bit of a privacy hedge through here, and try to grow some cool stuff that we can share with the neighbors. Into the front yard area down here, I've started to make a little compost area, and then that is right beside what is going to be our new kind of secondary mulch area. And that secondary mulch area is going to be fed by our primary mulch delivery driveway, which is right at the front of the yard, kind of on the downhill side. So right now I've got some pecan logs here, so we're going to get them cut up and start aging them or seasoning them to be able to use for firewood and smoking meats next winter. But yeah, so we have this whole area that we built out pretty much just for getting wood chips delivered, and then that will just kind of flow on into the secondary area where we can age them more, and then maybe add some to the compost. And then that having that secondary area over here makes it easier to come in with a wheelbarrow and just pick it up, take it back to the side path, or to bring it into our raised garden bed area. So of course right here we just have our pallet beds. We don't have too much in them right now. I think I have a few mustard greens and Brussels sprouts. This is mainly just getting ready for next spring, and we don't have too much growing in the others, so just trying to kind of build up some fertility in there. And then between that area and the house here, we've got the what's going to be the future flower beds. That's where Kara's been planting a lot of bulbs and getting ready. We've got our big azalea bush, but right now it's mostly dead. Same thing right now with our in-ground beds here along the driveway. They're still working as rain catchment whenever we've had a few storms. If you haven't seen them before, these are all dug down intentionally from the driveway to catch water, so that it doesn't flood, because we're at kind of the midway point of a big hill in our neighborhood. So anything we can do to reduce runoff, we're gonna try to do that. And then of course up front here, we finally got it mulched all the way. Don't have anything else in it right now. I think we've got some more bulbs and seeds in the ground that should pop up come spring, but right now everything pretty much just looks like a bunch of wood chips and logs. And then of course in the center area we've got those trees that we had dumped here in the spring, and we have just continually built up around them with wood chips. And we've got some mulberry and elderberry in the ground now. We'll see if they take root and grow up, but we're going to be kind of trying to make this line where the logs are into a bit of a dividing wall between kind of the roadside and the garden side here. And just use the plants themselves as a bit of a wall. Same thing kind of here along this line. We've got a few more mulberry and elderberry, but still we want to kind of make a walking path from this front area that kind of leads people into the garden education area. In the future we'll probably have some kind of garden chats where we invite people to sit down, have some food from the garden, and maybe learn a little bit about gardening themselves. So that's it for today and for this year. I'm gonna go inside, warm up, and enjoy the rest of Christmas. Y'all will probably see this in a day or two, and hope y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.